News today that the price of a packet of cigarettes has soared once again. This is the second of four planned excise tax charges that have been introduced by the previous Labor government. We're seeing a rise today in shops around the country of 13.7%. So in some instances, a pack of 20 cigarettes will go over the $20 mark, a pretty crucial price point change, I think, which means one smoke is worth now probably about $1. And my strong view is that we have been taxing the hell out of smokers for a long, long time, and it's about time that we spread the pain elsewhere. I just think it's getting to the ridiculous stage and an unfair stage for what is still essentially a controlled, legalised product.
Well, this all began probably going back 20 years ago when work was done and it was supported by the Australian Medical Association that the cost of smoking far outweighed the amount of money that governments were collecting excise. Now, whether that's the case now, I don't know, because the amount in excise collected has obviously shrunk in terms of the number of people paying it, because there's a lot fewer people smoking, but the amount has increased, and the cost, of course, in the health system, well, that's continuing, because you've got people who are in their 50s and 60s who would have smoked as young people, and the effects of smoking is going to be felt probably for decades to come in our health system. We'll be paying for that, and the question then is the extent to which that can be made up by excise on smoking, which eventually is going to see smoking disappear.
But don't you think we're being a little bit unfairly targeting smokers to the detriment of all these other so-called sins in our community?
We had a caller today who rang and said that she smokes. I think she said a couple of packets a week. I think maybe it was a packet every 2 days. So yep. I think that'd be 3 or 4 packets a week, which on the present thing means you're talking $70 or $80 a week. It's a hell of a lot of money to spend. It's very easy to tell people what to do. $70 or $80 extra. Imagine if you could produce another $70 or $80 instantly in your pocket a week, and suddenly your food tastes better. Your food actually tastes better.
And you know what? And the fact that we all know that.
You'll sleep better. You'll be healthier, and the people around you will actually go, oh, she doesn't stink anymore. So all of those factors are going to come into play for that person, are they not?
Well, yes, we know that, but it's her choice. She chooses to have a cigarette. And as long as she does it within the confines of her own home and doesn't blow the smoke passively into other people's lungs, I don't have a problem with that, do you?
Well, I do have a problem in terms of her life would be a lot better if she wasn't smoking. And most of the people who are smoking, who are addicted, they've been hooked by people sitting around in offices trying to work it. Just as at the moment, the people who work for tobacco companies are trying to work out how can we keep young people smoking because we need to get more customers. How can we get more people in the third world smoking? And that's where they're really pushing in now, because they figure, well, the people we've got addicted in the Western world, they're either dying or stopping taking our products. They need to push their product into other areas. So they're like an organised drug cartel. They need to find business. So they're trying to plot and plan, and they paid doctors, they used propaganda to hook people on this stuff all those years ago.
So look at the pure hypocrisy at play here. We're happy to keep taxing and taking that money, but it's such a noxious weed, such a big poison. If it's so bad for us, why won't they just ban it?
Well, they should. They should say that 5 years from now it'll be banned. And this has been a proposal been put forward, for instance, by the Lancet. I mean, you talk to doctors, they'll say immediately, yes, of course. You give people less. It's less about the tobacco companies, because I think if you invest in tobacco companies or are involved in tobacco companies, well, they can go and get stuffed. You shouldn't. If you're going to lose your money investing in tobacco companies, bad luck. But it's about the people who are addicted and who are hooked. You give them a 5-year window to try and get them off the stuff over that period of time, and at the end of that 5-year period, the stuff's illegal.
And after that, we'll move on. Alcohol?
No, well,
Fun police are on the march.
No, but as has been plainly demonstrated, it's an accepted medical fact. This is an addictive drug, tobacco, and there's no safe level of consumption. There is, and obviously, if you're
alcohol's cost to the community far outweighs smoking.
Okay, and as I've just pointed out, in the same way, for instance, a huge cost to the community from traffic accidents. You don't ban cars, but there is a safe level of use of cars, and they have a purpose. People drink alcohol; it's a drug, but you're telling me that you can't just have one drink a week and you don't get hooked. Most people don't. become alcoholics, but significant numbers do, and that's a problem, particularly with young people who are binge drinking. Of course we should do something about it. It's not an either or. It's ridiculous to be bringing alcohol into the argument. And you know what? When you do, it means you're losing the argument.
I need a drink after that.
You do.